What if everything Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have told us about their perfect new life in California isn't quite what it seems? Behind the glitz of Montecito, could there be a deeper story of regret, boredom, and unfulfilled dreams? They claimed they left the royal spotlight for freedom. Yet the question remains, are they truly living their best life? Or has the reality turned out to be far different than what they imagined? In today's video, we're diving into the lives of Harry and Meghan post-royal exit. We'll explore the surprising truths behind their new life in America. From Harry's so-called boredom in Montecito to their desperate pursuit of A-list status. We'll also ask, are they really as happy as they claim? Or has the life they dreamed of started to lose its shine? Stick around as we unpack what's really happening behind those closed doors. But first, let me ask you, do you think Harry and Meghan's search for privacy and happiness will ever truly come to fruition? Drop your thoughts in the comments below as we dive into the story that's captivated millions. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss out on more shocking insights into the royal drama that never seems to end. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made the decision to step down from their roles as senior members of the British royal family, the world watched in disbelief. The couple, who had lived their lives under constant media scrutiny, claimed they were seeking privacy and freedom, a new life away from the unrelenting pressures of the monarchy. But now, nearly 5 years later, as they settle into their Montecito estate, questions start to emerge. Is this really the life they envisioned? Or is there something more to their story than meets the eye? Let's think about this for a moment. Harry, a prince who was raised to fulfill royal duties, now finds himself in a mansion in California, away from his royal commitments and public duties. On paper, it should be a dream come true. He has the freedom to live his life on his terms, surrounded by his family. But as time goes on, whispers have started to grow louder. Is Harry really as happy as he claims? Or has he realized that the grass isn't always greener on the other side? In interviews, Harry has openly expressed his gratitude for the life he now has in the US. He's mentioned how much he enjoys raising his children, Archie and Lilibet, away from the chaos of the UK. But there's one glaring question, what exactly is he doing? Beyond spending time with his children and taking the occasional jog, what is Harry's role in this new life? Is he truly satisfied with the quiet existence of a private citizen? Or is he, as some have suggested, bored? Tom Quinn, a royal expert, recently made a bold claim. He suggests that Harry is actually struggling with boredom. Having spent his entire life being trained for royal duties, attending charitable events, meeting world leaders, and carrying out public engagements, Harry is now cut off from all of that. Yes, he's a devoted father and spends time walking the dog. But is that really enough for a man who once thrived in the limelight? Quinn believes that Harry's transition into private life has left him feeling restless and unfulfilled. But here's the twist. Harry himself insists he's happy. In fact, in a recent interview at the New York Times Deal Book Summit, he made it clear that he feels as though he's living the life his mother, Princess Diana, would have wanted for him, one where he can raise his children away from the public eye, free from the royal spotlight. He's even said he's hugely grateful for the opportunity to live in America and spend more time with his kids than he would have been able to in the UK. So, which is it? Is Harry truly content with his new life? Or is the reality of his situation starting to set in? While he's made it clear he doesn't regret leaving the royal family, it's hard to ignore the mounting evidence that suggests he may be feeling a sense of loss of purpose, loss of status, and perhaps loss of his identity. After all, how can someone who has been groomed for such a specific role, one that involves representing the monarchy and fulfilling public duties, suddenly adjust to a life that's so drastically different? And then there's Meghan. She, too, seems to be adjusting to life in California. But there's been speculation that she's also struggling with her new role. Meghan, who spent years in the spotlight as an actress, now finds herself in a new social world, surrounded by some of the most famous people in Hollywood. But despite living in the heart of celebrity culture, she and Harry have not been able to crack the coveted A-list status. They may live among stars like Katy Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Gwyneth Paltrow, but their efforts to secure a prominent place in Hollywood's elite circle have largely fallen flat. It raises an interesting point. Does fame and celebrity come as easily as they expected? In the world of entertainment, being famous doesn't automatically make you an A-list star. The A-listers, people like Oprah or Gwyneth, have earned their status through hard work, dedication, and talent. Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, have little to show in terms of career achievements since leaving the royal fold. So, could it be that they've underestimated the difficulty of truly integrating into this high-powered world of Hollywood? Could it be that they're facing the harsh reality of being seen not as the royals they once were, but as just another pair of famous faces hoping to climb the celebrity ladder? While we're on the topic of their quest for celebrity status, let's consider another aspect of their move to Montecito, their relationships with their neighbors. We've heard countless reports that Harry and Meghan feel overlooked by the Hollywood elite. They might live in a mansion, but they're not exactly being invited to exclusive parties or rubbing shoulders with the people they admire. Despite their wealth and former royal status, they're just another couple among the many famous residents of Montecito. And some have argued that this lack of attention is starting to wear on them. It's easy to see why they might be frustrated. After all, when you've spent your life being the center of attention, it must be difficult to suddenly go unnoticed. But at the same time, isn't this exactly what they wanted? They wanted privacy, a break from the royal spotlight. And now that they have it, they're struggling with the consequences. The very thing they sought out, peace and quiet, has become a source of dissatisfaction. So, what does this all mean? Is Harry truly living his best life in California? Or is he beginning to realize that the freedom he sought has come at a greater cost than he expected? Is Meghan finding fulfillment in her new role? Or is she too facing the crushing reality that fame isn't handed to you on a silver platter? And, most importantly, how does this affect their family life, especially as their children grow older? When we think of Hollywood's A-list, what comes to mind? We picture iconic stars, successful entrepreneurs, and people whose talents and accomplishments have earned them a place among the most influential in the entertainment world. Yet, Harry and Meghan have found themselves in a bit of a dilemma, living in the heart of celebrity culture, but unable to crack into that elite circle. Despite their royal titles and the media frenzy surrounding them, they haven't been able to secure the fame and status they might have expected. Let's take a step back and think about their arrival in Montecito. The couple left behind the rigid, traditional world of the British royal family in pursuit of freedom and, let's not forget, the spotlight. They thought that by moving to California, they would be able to step into a glamorous new world where they could mix with the creme de la creme of Hollywood. But that hasn't been the case. Why? How is it that two people, once at the center of global attention, are now struggling to gain the recognition they've craved? Meghan, who had a successful acting career in her own right before joining the royal family, must have felt like this new world would welcome her with open arms. After all, she's always been driven by ambition. Yet, despite her efforts, it seems that the Hollywood community isn't as enamored with her as she might have hoped. The title of A-list isn't something that's easily granted. It requires more than just fame. It requires a combination of talent, work ethic, and sustained public engagement. Hollywood isn't a place that simply accepts anyone with a royal title or a famous name. Take Oprah, for example. Oprah didn't become an A-lister because she was famous. She became an A-lister because she worked tirelessly to build her empire, influencing millions with her unique style and approach to media. Then there's Gwyneth Paltrow, an actress who transitioned from film to creating a massive lifestyle brand. The key difference? They earned their place through decades of hard work and dedication. Meghan and Harry, on the other hand, have not quite been able to replicate that level of success. Let's also consider the public perception of their move. Many people believed that once they left the royal family, they would somehow become the new power couple of Hollywood, champions of causes, influencers, and media moguls. But instead, they've often been seen as outsiders. Despite their wealth and status, they're still viewed as newcomers who haven't fully earned their place in the circles they once dreamed of entering. The reality is harsh, and it's leading to growing frustration. But here's where things get interesting. Could it be that they were never meant to be A-listers in the first place? Is there something about their journey from royal life to celebrity that makes them stand out, but not in the way they hoped? While they've struggled to secure the same level of attention as others in their neighborhood, there's also something deeply compelling about their story. They aren't just another celebrity couple. They're former royals who turned their backs on the very system that gave them their fame. And in some ways, that makes them far more intriguing than any Hollywood star. The question we must ask ourselves is this: are they being overlooked because of their past? Or is it simply that they don't have the right kind of fame that Hollywood covets? After all, being a royal doesn't automatically translate into Hollywood success. There's no denying the fact that Harry and Meghan's royal titles give them a certain level of recognition. But does that recognition hold the same weight in a world where fame is earned through other means? This brings us to another layer of the story, their struggle to be seen as true A-listers. It's clear that Harry and Meghan are frustrated by being sidelined. Even in a town that thrives on celebrity status, they may be living in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in California. But it seems their presence doesn't carry the same weight it once did. And perhaps more tellingly, it appears that their neighbors, people who are genuinely part of the A-list, aren't paying them the attention they expected. Meghan, in particular, seems to have struggled with the realization that being married to a prince doesn't automatically make her a Hollywood star. Her past in acting has clearly been overshadowed by her role as a duchess. And now, she's trying to navigate a world where she's neither a successful actress nor an established philanthropist. Her ambitions are clear, but without the royal title and the connections that come with it, her path forward in Hollywood is uncertain. As we continue to peel back the layers of Harry and Meghan's new life in Montecito, there's one thing that's become impossible to ignore. Their children, Archie and Lilibet. They're at the heart of every decision, every public statement, yet remarkably little is known about them. In fact, their very existence has become a subject of constant speculation. Why? Because despite their prominence in the media, the public rarely sees them. And it begs the question, is there more to the story than they've shared? Let's first consider the secrecy surrounding their children. It's no secret that Harry and Meghan have kept a tight grip on their private life, particularly when it comes to their children. Photos of Archie and Lilibet are rare, and their public appearances are even more so. This begs the question, why so much secrecy? Is it truly to protect them from the media glare, as they've claimed? Or could there be something else at play here? Some people believe that Harry and Meghan's reluctance to share more about their children stems from a desire to maintain their privacy, something they've long claimed to seek. After all, they've made it clear that one of the primary reasons for leaving the royal family was to escape the constant media intrusion. But others are beginning to wonder if their strategy goes beyond privacy and into the realm of control. Could they be using their children as a tool to maintain public interest in their lives, rather than simply protecting them from the spotlight? Now, let's turn to the allegations surrounding Lilibet's birth and christening. Over the past few years, numerous theories and rumors have circulated, with some suggesting that the details surrounding Lilibet's birth have been less than transparent. There are reports that no official documents have been filed with her name, sparking further questions about the authenticity of her birth. These claims have been fueled by the fact that neither Harry nor Meghan has made public any substantial evidence to confirm her birth outside of the usual social media posts and magazine interviews. Even more alarming are the rumors about her christening. Some reports have even suggested that the christening was staged or that a doll was used in place of Lilibet. A prominent figure like Tyler Perry, who was reportedly asked to be Lilibet's godfather, allegedly walked away from a private ceremony when he realized that the child he was supposed to be honoring might not have even been there. Of course, these are all rumors, but the fact that they're circulating at all raises questions about what's really going on behind the scenes. And then there's the mysterious absence of the children in public life. Despite being part of one of the most famous families in the world, Archie and Lilibet are hardly ever seen in public. This, of course, is in stark contrast to other royal children, such as Prince George and Princess Charlotte, who have frequently been seen accompanying their parents at public events. So, why the stark difference? Is this part of the couple's commitment to privacy? Or are they deliberately keeping their children out of the limelight to build an air of mystery around them? It's also worth considering the emotional toll this secrecy might be taking on Harry and Meghan. After all, they've made it clear that they want their children to grow up outside of the royal spotlight. But is that really the best approach? Growing up in the royal family comes with its own set of challenges, to be sure, but it also provides children with a sense of purpose, connection, and stability. So, what happens when you remove them from that world entirely and keep them isolated in a mansion away from their royal relatives? At this point, we have to ask, what are the long-term effects of this strategy? Will Archie and Lilibet grow up in a bubble, removed from the public eye, never knowing the sense of duty and responsibility that comes with being a royal? Or will they eventually feel the weight of the choices their parents have made and wonder why they've been kept so hidden from the world? This brings us to an uncomfortable but necessary point: Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family. Could it be that they've isolated themselves so much that their children will never truly understand the legacy they come from? Could they be depriving them of the connections and opportunities that come with being part of the British royal family? Or are they simply giving them the freedom to forge their own path, away from the pressures of royalty? In the midst of all this, let's not forget the larger question. Are Harry and Meghan setting the stage for a future where their children will be just as famous as they are, but for completely different reasons? Could their children one day be seen as the heirs to a new, modern form of royalty? One that's more about celebrity than duty? Will the Sussex children become symbols of a new era, where fame is no longer tied to lineage but to media attention and personal branding? Now, let's dive into one of the most intriguing aspects of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's journey, their decision to leave the royal family and what it really means for their future, and for the monarchy itself. The couple's exit in 2020 sent shockwaves through the royal world, leaving people questioning not only their motivations but also the consequences of their actions. Was it a bold step toward independence, or did they make a monumental mistake? For Harry, stepping away from the royal family was no small decision. He was born into a life of privilege, one that came with both advantages and immense responsibilities. He knew what it meant to be a royal, to represent his family and his country at every turn. And yet, after years of pressure and public scrutiny, he and Meghan decided to walk away from it all. But here's the big question. Was this the right choice for Harry? Was leaving behind the legacy of his mother, the responsibilities to the monarchy, and the place he'd held in the public's heart worth the sacrifices they've made since? When we look at the history of royal family departures, it's hard not to draw parallels with other royal figures who made similar moves. Take King Edward VIII, for instance. He famously abdicated the throne for love, choosing Wallis Simpson over his royal duties. The world was stunned. But ultimately, Edward's abdication shaped the course of history, and not in a way he had imagined. Harry's departure feels somewhat similar, though perhaps less dramatic, given that he didn't give up a throne. But still, he stepped away from the very institution that shaped his life. And that decision has had repercussions that continue to echo through the media. Now, let's consider the emotional toll this has taken on Harry. We've heard him speak at length about how he felt trapped within the royal system, how he couldn't breathe, how he felt stifled by the expectations placed upon him. In interviews, he's painted a picture of a man desperate for freedom, for a life without the constant burden of public duties. But the question remains, is that freedom all it's cracked up to be? It's one thing to walk away from an institution as powerful as the British monarchy. It's another to find fulfillment in the void left by that decision. Harry, who once had a purpose defined by royal obligations, now faces a future where his role is far less clear. What does he do now? What is his identity without the title? Without the daily events and charity work? Is he truly content with his life in Montecito? Or does he long for the structured, purposeful life he had as a royal? And then there's Meghan. She, too, is no stranger to public pressure. Before meeting Harry, she was already a known figure in Hollywood, but her relationship with him thrust her into the global spotlight in a way that few can understand. Together, they've made waves, not only with their departure from the royal family, but also with their continuous media presence. But is it all working in their favor? Meghan's desire for independence is clear. But how much of that comes from her personal ambition versus her frustration with the monarchy's role in her life? The couple has often spoken about their desire for privacy, yet they've consistently put themselves in the public eye. So, how does this balancing act work? Are they really seeking the private life they claim? Or is this just another part of their grand media strategy? As we consider all of this, we have to ask, what is the long-term impact of their decisions? Their departure from the royal family is a dramatic one. But it's also part of a larger trend we're seeing among younger royals. In the past, members of the royal family had little choice but to adhere to their roles. But now, with the rise of social media and the growing influence of public opinion, we're seeing royals like Harry and Meghan push back against the expectations placed upon them. Will their departure mark the beginning of a larger shift in the royal family? One that sees fewer royals willing to take on the responsibilities of public service? Some believe that Harry and Meghan's move signals the beginning of the end for the traditional royal system, especially in a world where fame is increasingly tied to personal branding rather than royal heritage. Others, however, see their actions as selfish and short-sighted, believing that they've abandoned the monarchy at a time when it needed them most. For the royal family, Their absence has been a topic of constant discussion. Harry and Meghan's relationship with his family, particularly with Prince William, has been strained. And some wonder if this rift will ever be healed. Here's where we need to pause and consider the bigger picture. As much as we focus on Harry and Meghan's personal choices, we must also look at how their departure affects the monarchy as a whole. With Harry and Meghan stepping away, there's an undeniable shift in the royal dynamic. It raises the question, who will take on the mantle that Harry once carried? Can the monarchy evolve without figures like him? Or is the institution at risk of losing its relevance in a modern world that increasingly values personal freedom over tradition? We've explored their struggles with fitting into the Hollywood world, the secrecy surrounding their children, and the emotional toll that stepping away from the royal spotlight has taken on them. And as we've seen, while they claim to be happy in Montecito, there's an underlying tension that raises more questions than answers. Are they truly content with their decision? Or is something more complex at play? The truth is, the future of Harry and Meghan and their place within the royal narrative remains uncertain. Their story is far from over. And as we continue to follow their journey, it's clear that there are still many chapters left to be written. But what do you think? Do you believe Harry and Meghan will ultimately find peace? Or will their pursuit of independence continue to come at a greater cost than they anticipated? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Do you think they've made a mistake? Or are they simply taking the necessary steps to carve out a new life for themselves? And how do you think their story will impact the monarchy in the years to come? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below. I value your opinions. And this conversation is far from over. And if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to subscribe to the Kate Middleton and the Queen YouTube channel for more in-depth discussions and fresh perspectives on the royal family. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's keep this conversation going, because there's always more to uncover in the fascinating world of the British royals.